Daniel and Lydia had already made a plan. They wanted Grace gone. The fashion company was making millions every year. As long as Grace remained, half of everything belonged to her. Daniel wanted it all. One evening, he met Lydia at a restaurant. "We need to act now," Daniel whispered. "What if she finds out?" Lydia asked. "She won't." "And if she does?" Daniel smiled coldly. "Nobody will believe her." Lydia looked nervous. "This is dangerous." Daniel leaned closer. "Do you want the money or not?" Lydia slowly nodded. They were ready, not just to steal Grace's company. They were ready to steal her life. A month later, Grace arrived at work as usual. The employees looked at her strangely. People whispered as she walked past. She felt uneasy. When she entered the meeting room, 2 police officers were waiting. "Mrs. Grace Daniel?" one officer asked. "Yes. You are under investigation for stealing company money." Grace stared at them. "What?" Daniel stood silently beside them. His face showed fake sadness. "I didn't want this to happen," he said softly. Grace looked at him in shock. "Daniel, what are they talking about?" "The money disappeared from the company account." "What?" "The records point to you." Grace could not believe her ears. "I would never steal from my own company." The officer spoke calmly. "Please come with us." Grace turned to Daniel. "Tell them the truth." Daniel lowered his eyes. "I'm sorry, Grace." That one sentence broke her heart. The man who had once promised to protect her had become the one destroying her. As the police led her outside, cameras flashed. Reporters shouted questions. "Did you steal the money?" "Why did you betray your company?" Grace cried. "I didn't do anything." But nobody listened. The city had already judged her. Grace spent 3 days in a police cell. She cried every night. She kept asking herself the same question. Why would Daniel do this? The police questioned her again and again. "Where is the missing money?" one officer asked. "I don't know." Grace answered. "You owned the company." "Yes." "You had access to the accounts." "Yes." Then explain the missing millions. Grace could not. Someone had changed the company records. Someone had made it look like she had stolen everything. After several days, the court released her because there was not enough evidence to send her to prison. But the damage was already done. News spread across the city. People whispered whenever she walked by. "There goes the thief." "I trusted her." "I'll never buy from her again." Grace felt as if the whole world hated her. Grace returned home hoping Daniel would finally tell the truth. Instead, she found her suitcase waiting at the door. Daniel stood in the living room with folded arms. Lydia stood beside him. Grace looked from one face to the other. "What is this?" Daniel spoke without emotion. "I want a divorce." Grace's heart stopped. "What?" "You heard me.